Good day, folks, and welcome to another edition of City Hall Live Zoomcast. And with me today is Jill Dixon, the Director of Development from Food Depot. She's been on many times. Jill, how are you doing today?
This is a new look for us. I really
It
liked it when
is.
we were in the gallery
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Um, I felt like if there's one person that we need to have on now, there's many, but you are definitely in my top five, I would say, just because of what you guys are doing now in the community. And I'm sure a lot of people that want to donate or also need help need that information. And I felt it's very important to that people have not seen you before on our show, that we just need to make sure to let them know what's out there and what kind of help's out there too as well. So Jill, let's talk about this. I know Food Depot, you guys have been rock stars always, but now it's like this is pretty intense, right? I mean, I'm sure your workload, you guys have been working nonstop. So how has it been for you guys?
You know, one of the things that put us in a really good position from the very start here is that the Food Depot has always been a disaster relief organization as well. So we were, this pandemic isn't exactly what we were looking for. We're always prepared for wildfires, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
But as an organization, we are positioned to think in terms of disasters. So our team was able to really swiftly adapt our existing disaster plan, modify that, and come up with an idea of how we were going to begin serving our communities during this time.
Mhm.
So I think that put us a little ahead of the curve
Okay.
for a lot of other folks. And we were also looking towards the potential that this virus had to spread and cause this kind of disruption, because that's our role in the community.
Yeah.
So we were able to, by March 19th, get our first large-scale public drive-through food distribution off the ground here in Santa Fe. And we've been distributing food twice a week in Santa Fe ever since.
Okay.
So I think that we've been able to step into that void for folks who didn't have the disposable income to go and stock up on groceries, who weren't able to make those preparations as people sort of got the idea of what was happening here, that we've been able to serve those people since mid-March. And that's been a really important part of the response of our whole community in this situation.
How has donations been with you? How has the regular stream of intake been, as opposed to a non COVID reality? Has it increased? Has it decreased? What's the situation with that?
Well, first of all, we know that need has just exploded with
Hmm.
so many people being, we were just talking about folks being furloughed or laid off and just having incomes dramatically disappear
Yeah.
or be reduced in serious ways. And we know from our conversations in the past that a lot of folks in our communities live paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
And when a paycheck is compromised or it disappears altogether, families are in crisis very quickly.
Yeah.
So we, along with our partners in hunger relief like Bienvenidos and Bag in Hand, have seen about a 30% increase in demand for emergency assistance in the past month.
Okay.
So that the demand has absolutely exploded. At the same time, some of our typical sources of donations, like our local grocery stores, have dramatically fallen off because the demand on them has been greater.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense. They've always been generous. They've always donated. This is in no way a criticism,
Yeah.
but they have less to donate because people are buying more because they're staying at home.
Mm-hmm.
So the food is turning over. They have less of that near date and post date food to donate.
Mm-hmm.
So donations have dropped off in a food donation way.
Mm-hmm.
We're not accepting food donations at the Food Depot for health reasons at this
Okay.
point. And
Okay.
so we're having to buy food to fill the gap. So our expenses have absolutely shot up at the same time demand has. We've spent over $400,000 acquiring food and supplies since the
Wow.
middle of March.
Wow. That's insane. And I know one other thing that I think people need to understand is that, and we've talked about this before, is that food donations are always appreciated, but you guys can stretch a dollar a lot more
Yes.
than you could than someone else going and spending a dollar on buying 4 boxes of mac and cheese for $4 mac and cheese, where you can actually go out and get something else as a result of that. So money donations are your best way of making the most of something, correct? of a
Absolutely. They've
donation.
always enabled us to be as flexible as possible.
Yeah.
And that is definitely true right now. I mean,
Hmm.
obviously, food donations are complicated
Yeah.
for all of the reasons of transmission issues and needing volunteers to process that food. Right
Yeah.
now, we have every single volunteer tasked with packing bags of non perishable items and packaging fresh produce for
Yeah.
distribution.
Yeah.
And we don't want to allocate them to processing and handling donated food at this point.
Hmm.
So yeah, we are absolutely leveraging every relationship that we've established with our food purveyors
Uh-huh.
to make sure that we stretch every dollar as far as possible.
How has that been for you guys as an organization, having the network of being able to purchase stuff out there? Has that been, have people come together as far as helping each other out with the different food depots around the nation, and also helping each other out and saying, hey, we need a little bit of this. Can you help us out with this? That type of thing?
I have to say, I've always found food banks to be completely collaborative.
Uh-huh.
I've never felt a sense of competition between food banks, and we're all assigned our own area. We do our own fundraising in our own places.
Yeah.
But collectively, nationally, I am so deeply inspired by the work that's going on at food banks. You've seen the news coverage of 10,000 cars waiting in line in San Antonio, and it could break your heart if it wasn't such a testament to how communities are rallying to
Uh-huh.
support people in need. And that's happening here too. So I've definitely, we're the New Mexico Association of Food Banks, which is the 5 food banks in the state of New Mexico.
Yeah.
We call twice a week together to check in, see what resources people are needing. Our volunteer department has really led the way with developing volunteer screening and safety protocols, and those are being used throughout the state by our hunger relief partners.
Hmm.
Other food banks like Roadrunner have developed other resources for us to use, and we're all sharing what we have as we learn and grow through this experience.
Gotcha. I know that you guys on a normal basis, you guys would feed about, what's it, in the 40,000s, 48,000 people or families, or how does that work?
We,
What's the
on
number?
an
I'm sorry.
annual basis, we reach about 34,500 people.
Okay.
And although there's definitely duplication in the number I'm about to say, there are people that are needing assistance and that we've seen a couple of times.
Yeah.
Our food pantries, in the 2 food pantries we operate weekly in Santa Fe, plus the 2 additional distributions we had out in Okeowinge, have reached over 33,000 people.
Okay. And now, what's the number now? Could you share that with me? Is that something you know, or?
Our distribution alone is reaching 33,000 people.
Oh, total altogether right
Yeah,
now.
that's not including all our whole network of partners that's still out there doing their thing on the
Okay.
front lines also.
Has it increased though as a result of
Massive.
demand? Okay.
Yeah, our agencies like Bag in Hand, Bienvenidos are reporting a 30% increase. We're
Gotcha.
still providing them with food.
Yeah.
So that whole background that we did before is still happening, but the additional distributions that we're managing ourselves are also reaching over 30,000 people.
Wow. Wow. That's incredible. Okay, so for the person out there that that needs help, what
Step forward.
what information can you give them to help them out?
First, know that there are people out there ready to help.
Uh-huh.
And it is okay in this time to ask for it because that's what we're here for.
Mhm.
I know that it's really hard. I've seen the faces of folks who come through the food pantry distributions for the first time. You know,
Mhm.
the second week I was doing it, I saw a mama there who had her 2 kids in the back seat, and she was like trying not to look at me, and the tears were just running down her face.
Yeah.
And as a mom, it broke my heart for her.
Yeah.
Um, and so first, know that you can get help.
Yeah.
Second, the best possible resource is our website,
Okay.
thefooddepot.org.
Okay.
There's a big banner in there that says COVID-19 response.
Hmm.
Visit there and you can find out how to donate, how to volunteer, and how to get help. And
Okay.
that is a different list depending on whether you're in Santa Fe or outside Santa Fe.
Hmm.
But we've listed all of our public facing partners
Hmm.
with what their dates of distribution and their times are, as well as the distributions that we're managing ourselves.
Okay.
So between the two, you should be able to find groceries for your family.
Okay. And it doesn't matter, right? I mean, you could be someone that has been normal, on time with bills all your life, and has been able to provide for your family, and you may have lost your job, and you'll
Exactly.
still qualify for this, correct?
We are not turning anyone away. We
Okay.
do ask some questions about income levels and those types of things just to determine the types of food we're
Okay.
allowed to give a certain household. There's
Okay.
different rules around that.
Okay.
But we are not turning anyone away. We are not going to judge you by what kind of car you drive up in.
Okay.
We have no idea how people's circumstances have changed in the
Mhm.
last 30 days and whether
Mhm.
the business that they worked hard to build is closed,
Mhm.
whether or not it's ever going to reopen.
Mhm.
We don't know what people's situations are, but what we are here to do is provide groceries to families so they can sustain themselves during the remaining parts of these closures.
And they can go to fooddepot.org, correct?
Thefooddepot.org.
Fooddepot.org. We'll put it down
Thefooddepot.org.
below on the screen here when
Yep.
people watch that. Okay. Good information. All right. All right, Jill. Well, thank you so much for coming and spending some time with us. And you guys are accepting, there's a donation button also at your website, right?
There's a donation button on our website. You can choose any program you'd like to donate to. The COVID-19 Response Fund is the most necessary right now. We have, as I said, incurred over $400,000 in expenses in the last month.
Mhm.
That's more than we typically incur over several months. And we've purchased more food in the last month than we typically purchase in a year.
Mhm.
But we are here and we're committed to standing behind Santa Fe and the other 8 counties we serve for the duration. We're not going anywhere.
Mhm.
And we're grateful to all those in the community, the volunteers, the donors, the partners who have stood up and said, we're going to stand with you and make sure that no one goes hungry.
That is awesome. That is great. Thank you guys for all your work that you do for us here in our community. We really, really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's good to see you again.
Yes, and hang in there.
Thanks.
All right, folks, that does it for us here. Everybody stay safe out there. Have a great week. Have a safe week. Adios.